Women have killed more human beings through abortion since it was decriminalized than men have killed in every war, pestilence, plague, and famine combined throughout our history.
Wow,
So
that's
abortion is the
quite
biggest
stat.
killer of people. We also knew that over a quarter, so about 28% of Generation Z has been aborted. These are outrageous.
28%. Welcome to another episode of Fox and Father with me, the Fox, and him,
The father.
It's a show where Calvin tries to tutor me in the ways of righteousness and sometimes succeeds and often fails. And I'm not feeling very righteous.
Oh,
I'm feeling
no.
I feel quite angry with people who do, but I don't feel very righteous, which would say that would demonstrate that I'm not feeling very righteous.
Oh, what's up?
Well, I did court last week, which I have to say is one of the most unpleasant experiences that you can go through in life. And it takes days to get over it, even if you're in the early stages of all of these things. So I get so tired of the lefties going on about like, it's just, I find it so hard to live. Like, it's so difficult being me, and they just cause all of the pain. Do you know what I mean? I find that very irritating about them. They want to murder children, they want to ruin your life while you're living it, and then they want to cut it short at the end. So my way of protecting myself, I had a sort of epiphany of some sort, mild, small one, of just going, I am going to switch off pretty much mostly between my court appearances because they're so draining. They really are. And
Why do you have so many?
because the people want me in prison, for tweets. Twitter didn't exist, they wouldn't want me in prison. But we'll have to see how it goes. But the in between one of the breaks of the court, I was sat there going, there was like a break, and I thought, oh, I'll just go and watch one of the other cases. And there was this Chinese dude who was getting sentenced for somewhere between 15 and 25 counts of rape.
Oh.
And I was watching from the public gallery. I was so interested, like, I don't want to emulate sociopathy or psychopathy, but he was yawning as he was being sentenced to life.
Wow.
He was just like, the guy was sentencing him to life goes, you will be sentenced to 28 years. And he's going,
That's insane.
So I thought, this is, I just thought, why am I here? Essentially. Yeah. Anyway, so that was my week, recovered from it. And I'm now back to writing. How's Teach?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on good form. He's on really good form.
Good.
He almost had his first kind of go out and, not first, but like different girls' school to boys' school, meet new girls thing. But it all went tits up because of all the people who love London and think London is such a multicultural, diverse city, that one of the mothers at the Refugees Welcome School that my son goes to wasn't happy with them going in an Uber, but was too tight to pay for a black cab.
Oh.
Okay. So they love London, multicultural London, which Sadiq Khan keeps posting. Actually, I've seen him post a lot recently. He goes, once again, London has been voted the greatest city on earth. It's amazing. And then I go, what is this company that did the survey and who pays for it? And it's like Sadiq Khan. Like, the Mayor's for London office pays for the Mayor of London to tell the Mayor of London he's wonderful. It almost reminds me of GCSE history, that one. And our good friend, Comrade Joseph Stalin.
It's quite clever, really, isn't it? Because not many people are going to ask who voted on this and who paid for it.
Well, thanks to AI, you can get so much from AI.
That's
if
true.
if you have a bit of it. I know you're like AI's woke, but if you ask it just simple questions like, what is London First Project, or whatever it was called, that did it, and who is the major shareholder, and blah blah blah, and it'll just go through Companies House and give you all the info. So yeah, Sadiq Khan's marking his own homework. Surprise, Calmo. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm all right. I was in West Virginia last week, which was amazing. Beautiful.
Was it almost heaven?
Almost, almost. Lovely, lovely place. Great people. I was in a little town called Lewisburg, one of those
Near the
little
Blue Ridge
villages
Mountains? Near the Shenandoah River?
not too far.
Life is old there, older than the sea. Sorry, carry on.
True, true. No, I had a great time. I was speaking at an event out there, but I was hosted by some lovely people, Anglicans, Catholics, and pro-life group, all very fantastic. I gave a speech on the spiritual wars that we're in, and I mentioned feminism as part of the speech. And
Oh, don't do that.
afterwards, this little woman came up to me. I am a first wave feminist, I'll have you know. I was like, okay, great. But she's like, it's not the fourth wave. I'm like, yeah, but the first wave led to the second wave, which led to the third, which led to the fourth. It's all toxic. And she was like, it sounds like you'd want to take away women's right to vote. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'd like to do. Yeah, most of society's problems would be solved if white liberal women were not able to vote. Let's restore the vote to the family rather than focusing on the individual. The family used to be the core unit of society, and now it's the individual, and everything's going to pot.
Oh, you're going in punching this week, Carlo.
But
I'm sitting there going, yep, I agree. I mean, my sister wouldn't agree, obviously, but I do
all the
agree.
statistics show that the liberal vote is coming from the white liberal women, and to take that away, and most of the problems are solved. They're literally fighting for their right to kill their own offspring. That's what it all comes down to, which we'll get to. But West Virginia was gorgeous. I loved it. Today I'm off to Dearborn because that's the
Isn't Dearborn the hotbed of all satanic Mohammedism in the whole of America?
which is other side of the state that I happen to live in. So when I go down there, there's a big march or a rally going on, pro-Christian, anti-Mohammedan, kind of showing that this is a Christian country and you can't, because the mayor of Dearborn is the one that said he wants to see a Christian pastor leave, and he'll be celebrating when this pastor leaves his city. It's like, you're a guest in this place, and you're trying to kick out the Christians, the liberties. So we're going down there today. That'll be interesting. But
Good.
yeah, otherwise, pretty darn good. Apart from this blooming, I've just had when I came on with you, I was just emailing Freddie Sayers from Unheard because
Why do you email Freddie Sayers?
Because he's a liberal, and liberals tend to pretend that at least they want to be fair and balanced. And his website put out an article saying, "Is reform too Christian?" I'm like, can you imagine putting out an article saying, are the Conservatives too Jewish? Like, all hell would break loose. Or is Labour too Islamic? Like, what? How can you ask if something's too Christian in a Christian country where we see Christianity to be the truth? Can something be too true? Anyway, in this article...
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna actually live tweet that.
Okay. Well,
I'm stealing it. I'll credit you, but
it's fine. The purpose of this article was to discredit Professor James Orr, who is a man that I greatly admire. Dr. Orr owns a place in Cambridge called the Moorings because he's an associate professor at Cambridge University, and his estate is pretty much, as the article called it, a safe space for conservatives and Christians in Cambridge. Now, Cambridge is an incredibly woke city, as I'm sure you're aware. The university has had Palestine flags outside its main colleges for months and months, well, years at this point. And it's, most of the lecturers are blue-haired freaks who want to indoctrinate the young minds. Now, James Orr has tenure, so he's able to do and say what he likes, which means he can actually he can affirm free speech. And he has built this little estate where conservatives can go and hang out with other conservatives. Christians can go and hang out with other Christians and not feel ostracized and not be persecuted for being ordinary. And it's a place. It's a place that I lived when I was at the end of my time in the UK. When I was essentially homeless, he offered me a place to go and stay. It's a place that Rod Dreher has stayed. It's a place that J.D. Vance stayed when he went in the UK. It's a place that Charlie Kirk stayed when he was in the UK. And it's a great place.
I met James Orr a couple of times, and I really am warmed to his spirit. I really did.
He's a good egg. Like, there are very few.
I thought,
go on.
but it's very difficult to straddle these fences that Paul Marshall has put in front of conservatives,
Right.
Which is like, well, you've got to be soft and floppy and gentle, but at the same time be conservative. And the whole point about being conservative is you are conservative, so you can be soft and floppy and gentle at the appropriate moments. But you've got to affirm the conservatism in order to do that. So if you don't say, right, these are my values, I will stick to them, which is my children will not behave like that, will not shout at the table or eat with their mouthfuls or suck food off their knives or just anything. Once you've established that, you can then be warm and floppy and nice, and when they do, you can have a laugh about it.
Right.
But the thing is that people come at it from underneath, and they go, well, we don't want to be too conservative because they don't believe in a women's right to choose. And it's like, no, start from the principle of you're murdering babies and work back from there.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, they
very different.
overemphasize, they over-egg the meek and mild aspect. But we're not called to always be meek and mild. We are called to stand firm in the faith. And these people, you're right to mention Sir Paul Marshall because, of course, he is co-owner of Unheard and Spectator and GB News, and it's a containment thing. And so I think the reason he's attacking James, his outlet is attacking James Orr, is because James is genuinely conservative, genuinely Christian. And that's too much on the right for these containment centrists who want to actually just be controlled opposition. And so in this article, they've somehow dragged Connor Tomlinson in, somehow dragged me in. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm looking, why are they mentioning me? Oh, the Reverend Calvin Robinson was defrocked for a Nazi salute. So, the same old crap. First of all, I never performed a Nazi salute. And everything in context, well, I mean, a Sieg Heil is very different to a my heart goes out to you. But my heart goes out to you is clearly not saying Sieg Heil. But that aside, I'm over that.
Do you know what the mistake there was as well? That was another big mistake. You just go, I'm allowed to do a Nazi salute. Sieg Heil, I'm allowed to do it. I don't believe in fucking Hitler. I'm not a big fan,
Right.
but you're not going to stop me. What we always do, it drives me nuts,
Well, these
is we start defending things that we're allowed to do.
It's true.
If you want, Allo Allo is full of people doing Nazi salutes.
Right.
We're not cancelling the cast of Allo Allo. We're not cancelling Blackadder. We're not doing this.
They believe that people on the right are genuine Nazis. They believe that the Nazi party is still alive and we're all a part of it because they're insane. This is the liberals. This is the left. But the so-called
look what happened to Charlie Kirk.
The so-called conservatives who police that are the
calling people fucking Nazis. I'm sick of it. It's like, Sieg Heil, go and print it, crop it, Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil, Sieg Heil. I'm allowed to do it. They did it on Hello. I'm sick to death of people defending things. You particularly, not you particularly, but like anybody. It's like, from my heart to you, that's like Superman gesture. It's like a superhero gesture for me.
Well, it's clearly not the same gesture. It's not the same words. It's not the same context. It's not the same meaning. It's not. I'm clearly not a Nazi. I'm clearly not saying I'm a Nazi. I'm not Aryan. It's all stupid. But with that aside, the thing that gets me is that Father Calvin Robinson was defrocked for this Nazi. I have never been defrocked. These words matter because words mean something. To be defrocked means your holy orders are removed. Like you're no longer a priest. You can't serve as a priest. For a time, my license was temporarily revoked, which meant I couldn't serve in this particular church, which is it's a legal issue.
They don't care about facts, though.
They don't. And so I sent him a message saying, I was never defrocked. This is clearly inaccurate, untrue. Could you please correct it and correct your author? He emailed back saying, no, I got this from The Guardian. Oh, yeah, because The Guardian's a reputable source on all things ecclesiastical. Flipping muppet. These people don't care about the truth. They just want to attack everybody.
I think they're the enemies of the truth, and I'm writing about them at the moment. These wolves that hide among the sheep, and they pretend. And Paul Marshall, it's why I'm absolutely, I've never met the man, but I've
met him a few times, and I've got a lot of material on him that I can't legally release yet. But next year I will be able to release it. And when I do, people are going to realize how much controlled opposition is going on at GB News.
Yeah, and also good old James Orr. Sorry, I don't even know what James Orr's. I've not got through the entire article, but James Orr is probably going, Farage is going to be the next person in government. In the same way as Billy Graham would try and offer JFK or whoever, some spiritual advice. He's just thinking, can I help in some way? But no, these little publications like The Spectator, who have gone after Connor. Connor is now more as cancelled as you and I. And he's
learned as well. So he put out a tweet yesterday saying, I'll find it while you're talking.
I've been helping him out over an issue, and he is like, however reasonable he is, like he's properly reasonable, Connor. He's not like me. He doesn't just walk into a room, punch the first person he sees and goes, who's having it? He actually goes in and goes, I've had to think about this and I really want to talk about it. And he's getting completely done as well.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're on the deplorables list. Oh, interesting segue. I got phoned
Right.
up by
So he put
financial.
out a tweet,
Sorry.
which is very accurate. Said journalists are really independent. They are often agents of state power. Their political ambitions and reliance on access to politicians and intelligence services make challenging power a risk to their careers. And I really rate him for putting that out there, because when I lost my job at GB News, he was one of the people who floated my name around at Lotus Eaters and said maybe we should get him at Lotus Eaters. But he also said, actually, maybe we shouldn't get Calvin Robinson on because it could scupper our chances to get politicians on our shows, and it could scupper my chances to get invited onto GB News. But he's obviously moved on from that and evolved from that and learned from that, because we can't throw people under the bus for our own careers. We all have to fight together if we're on the same side. And this is what
It'll
he
never
said.
happen.
And this is what he said at the Oxford Union. You can see the chairman at the back like this, like really disappointed to be hearing this stuff. But yeah, good on him.
He said that at the Oxford Union.
Yeah.
But the point is, people have to realise that Connor is a good example of this. He's not wrong, right? And also, even if he is wrong, he has a right to challenge or be challenged. But the acceptable view is Connor has now moved beyond Connor Tomlinson, who is a reasonable dude,
He is very reasonable.
uh, and a very good arguer.
Researches his arguments.
Hence why Michael Gove has refused to release the Spectator interview,
Right.
because Michael Gove knows that Connor Tomlinson owned him. So Connor Tomlinson, what they do is they get rid of him, and he gets put in our bucket, or not our. I don't want to drag you into my bucket, but in the bucket of deplorables. And then yesterday, I got a phone call from Jeffrey, my friend Jeffrey, and he says, "Are you willing to speak to the new Financial Times journalist who
Ugh.
wants to broaden her perspectives
Why?
beyond Westminster?"
What for?
She wants to know.
What could you possibly
Well,
gain from that conversation?
I don't know. So, but I don't like.
Anyone that's working for FT they're not worth your time, because they're going to be snide. They're going to be
No,
looking
no,
at any
no, no, no,
reason to
no.
attack you.
But listen,
We've
I
learned
haven't
this
got
lesson the
the
hard
I
way
haven't
many
I
times over.
haven't got the end of my story yet.
Go on.
So I say, sure, I will speak to the person concerned. So she calls and she goes, "What do you think of reform?" And I just gave it what I thought of reform. I mean, you can find it on this channel. I just say what I said. What do you think of Nick Candy? I'm like, don't know him. What do you think of Holly Valance? I was like, she's a mate. How's the divorce going?
But
I
they're
don't know.
fishing around stuff for Holly.
Yeah. So
Animals.
it's like you just sit there and go, thank God
Mm.
I don't ever waste my time speaking to you people,
Yeah.
because it's even in what would be sort of to your average person, they would go, "Oh, Financial Times, that's what clever people read." Like I think that, because I'm like, money, how do you do that? Adding up, oh, that's odd. But the point
It's
is
an
that
awful leftist rag.
the media, but that media is over. Like, I don't consume any of it.
Mm.
I mean, I barely consume social media at the moment.
Yeah.
I'll probably go down to the pub to have a pint after our chat, and I might flick through if there's no one interesting in the pub who's got a story about, screed flooring that I want to listen to for a while. But it's like, and I found this the other day, and I noticed this before court. I was like, I couldn't leave the house again, right? So I got this terrible agoraphobia again. And I was like, I can't go out.
Mm.
And it's like the middle of the day and it's a fairly nice day. So I phoned my doctor, who is always been so wonderful. And I said, what do I do? And she said, well, it's a very natural thing. You are swimming with the crocodiles and they want to
Yeah.
hurt you.
Yeah.
And she said, don't go out. Watch the Caroline Flack documentary on Hulu. She said that will make you realize why you don't want to leave the front door. And I thought, I don't think I know or like, or I didn't really have any opinions on Caroline Flack at all.
Mm.
And actually, bless the documentary, it's very, very much about her mother. And I couldn't more highly recommend everybody who's been on the thick end of the cancellation wedge or on any end of the legal wedge having a look at that documentary to see how the Crown Prosecution Service behaved in regards to Caroline Flack, in my view, is criminal. And the petty jealousy of people within the Crown Prosecution Service who just went. I mean, wasn't a big Caroline Flack fan. Don't watch Love Island. Think it's demonic, but she's a human being and she's dead. Yes, she had agency in her own dying, but and that is it in itself a sin. But it just to listen to her mum after 5 years, done all of the research to find that there was this little nasty person within the Crown Prosecution Service who was dealing with a lot of horrible crimes at the time. He decided she was going to make her life a misery. And I just thought to myself, that's what we're dealing with. That's the principalities and powers. It's not about Connor Tomlinson being right and owning Michael Gove. It's not about you being defrocked or someone doing a Nazi salute. It's between truth and lies and good and evil. And therefore, if you and I apply the gun to the head test, which is Paul Marshall, good or evil? And I would go evil. That's what I would do. I have to do it because he is trying to take over a media space that is desperate and a political media space. I think for
People shouldn't be
pure.
able to buy influence in that way either. It's quite scary.
Well,
Multimillionaire
that's what
doing it.
money does, man.
Take over. Yeah.
Talk to OJ about it.
Yeah.
That's what money does. Money buys you influence in this world. And it also defends you, So without the defense that I have of the people that support me financially, I'd be living under a bridge, after the number of court cases and stuff that I've been through and continue to go through. I was sent this today by a friend who always watches out for me. It's called One of the Best Lectures in the World. It's 2 minutes long, just under 2 minutes long. And let's just watch it, and I'm actually going to watch it with you just because less than 2 minutes long, so we can comment on it. It's actually very interesting.
Sure.
You there, second desk, blue jacket. What is your name?
My name is Alexis.
Alexis, please leave my lecture room. I don't want to see you at one of my lectures ever again.
I don't understand.
I am not going to ask a second time. Thank you. Why are there laws? What are laws for? Anyone?
Social order?
To protect a person's personal rights.
So that you can rely on the government?
Justice? Thank you. Tell me, was I unfair to your classmate just now? Indeed I was. So, why didn't any of you protest? Why didn't any of you try and stop me? Why didn't you want to prevent this injustice? You see, what you have just learnt, you wouldn't have understood in 1,000 hours of lectures unless you lived it. You didn't say anything because you weren't affected yourself. And this attitude speaks against you and against life. You think it doesn't concern you, so it's none of your business. Well, I'm here to say, if you don't help bring about justice, then one day you too may experience injustice, and there will be nobody there to stand before you.
So that was sent to me, that video, and I watched it, and it was like, and the message was from a friend saying, "This is an illustration of why you are and should be doing what you're doing. Bravo." And I thought it's so it's so good, isn't it? Well, we naturally put up with anything, don't we? And Connor's treatment at the hands of the Specky and at hands of Unheard, and your treatment at the hands of, oh, we'll just say defrock because the Guardian have said it once, or I'm a racist because, it's been said once or twice, or I'm a sex offender, whatever. That's the stuff I want people to be fighting against. That is the thing I want people to resist. I don't just want a bunch of kind of right-wing loon bags going, I want to be in charge of things. It's just so boring. But anyway, I like that. Did you like that?
Yeah, it shows our natural capacity to be selfish. And we're seeing this play out throughout society in that people don't speak up against something unless it affects them personally. But by that point, it's often too late. This is the message we keep saying, that if we want to protect our society, we have to protect each other. We have to speak up for each other.
So, talk to me about the articles you sent me.
Right. So one of them is shocking. And I know that we've got loads of shocking statistics coming out about this stuff, but I recently released the fact that women have already killed, since the decriminalization of abortion in the 60s and 70s, women have already killed more human beings than men have killed in all plague, pestilence, famine, and war throughout all of documented history combined.
Say that again.
Women have killed more human beings through abortion since it was decriminalized than men have killed in every war, pestilence, plague, and famine combined throughout our history.
Wow.
So abortion is the biggest killer of people. Women are the biggest killer of people. And we knew that already. We also knew that over a quarter, so about 28% of Generation Z has been aborted. These are outrageous.
28%?
Yeah. So
what I'm going to do in this part of our conversation is I'm going to argue the pro-abortion point. Just because because I really want to get to the bottom of why they think that way, and it's a good thought exercise. I don't have an argument yet, but I'll work on it. So, talk to me.
Okay, and just one more stat. Philip Pilkington released these stats yesterday that in 2018, the number of abortions per 100 births was 27.6, right? And every year that's been increasing to the point of last year in 2024, for every 100 births, there were 48 abortions. That's up 63% from 2019. Something's happening. Like, we're killing off so many of our own offspring. We're literally killing off our entire society. Right. So we can talk all day, if we want to, about mass migration, both legal and illegal, and replacement and displacement and all that stuff. Doesn't matter if we're literally killing off our own people. Like, it's death by ethnic cleansing at our own hands.
Why do you think we're ethnically cleansing ourselves?
I think part of it is due to the sexual revolution. Part of it is due to feminism. And those two are linked in that contraception was approved of. And then from that moment on, sex became something that people do for pleasure without any consequence. Whereas throughout most of human history, the sexual act was something that happened between a married man and a married woman, a husband and a wife. And the natural consequence of that was childbirth. We knew that we might be blessed by God with children, and that was the act of procreation. And now it's not an act of procreation. God is separated from the situation. He's nothing to do with it. Children are nothing to do with it, thanks to contraception. So it became about purely carnal pleasure, lust, desire, sin.
Procreation rather than recreation. I'd love to know the derivation.
Yeah. So it became recreation. And then once it became about recreation, contraception was a secondary option. And if you use contraception or you don't, but if you don't, there's always the backup option of killing your baby. And what a mother may want a career instead of becoming a mother. A woman may want a career instead of becoming a mother. Or the couple may not want to get married yet. They may not be able to afford babies. They may want to wait until they settle down, etc., etc. The excuses don't matter. The fact is, it's become convenient to kill off babies rather than having them.
And acceptable.
Yeah.
So again, I would take us back to the beginning of the conversation where like, instead of looking up at a problem and going, well, it's going to be really hard to raise this child, and oh God, it's going to be really difficult, and all the money, and it's hard. You look down on a problem and you go, killing people is wrong.
Right.
So then you can have a meaningful conversation, to which the answer is the same, by the way, in my view, a meaningful conversation about the outliers like rape and incest. And you can sit there and go, okay, well, let's talk about rape and incest. They're really
You can have
difficult.
that, but it's always
But you end up at the same place,
Yeah,
which is it's not your life to take.
Sure, but that's always a distraction because that accounts for less than 1% of all abortions. And so the millions and millions of babies we're killing every year, they're not because of rape or incest.
Yeah, but
it's an
but
outlier of an excuse that people use.
that wasn't my
No, I
point.
understand, but I'm pointing it out because it's important.
Yeah, my point was to say that
it's still
if you can deal with the most complicated outlier, then you can deal with the normal one.
Right.
You can deal with the lifestyle choice abortion.
So
It astonishes me.
Elon Musk is working through your line of thinking, right? So he tweeted out, or he said something at an event, and it's been tweeted out that he said, if a baby can survive outside the womb, it cannot be aborted. At that point, it's murder. And he is absolutely right. If a baby can survive, it is absolutely murder. But it's always murder, is the point. You've got to keep going with that thinking process, with that thought process.
Okay, well, but then do keep going with that thinking process, because I talk about this with my kids. So do keep going with that thinking process.
Right. So why is it murder if the baby can survive? Well, because it's a human being. Well, is it only a human being if it can survive outside the womb by itself? No, because most babies can't survive by themselves. They need their mother for lots of reasons. And so our worth, our value as a human being isn't determined based on whether we can survive by ourselves or not. It's determined based on whether we are a person or not. And a baby is a separate and a unique, a discrete, an individual person from the moment of conception. Right, from that spark of light.
So maybe artificial intelligence and all the great leaps forward in science are going to be quite helpful to people.
But all scientists agree
on this mindset, because you can want to abort it, but some giant foundation can go, oh no, don't worry, we'll suck it out with a gravy baster and stick it in a little glass jar and ferment it till 9 months and send it off to do some aptitude tests on it and send, like, which world do you want to live in? It's like, if a woman doesn't, a child, the other thing that is true is a child cannot live without a mother. It will not have a great life without a mother or a father. It's going to struggle, right? So I can see, whilst I totally deplore the act, I can see why people do it. It's, to them, like what they teach my kids, what they teach all kids, which is like, just look after yourselves, doesn't matter, you're just, saving yourselves stuff. What they don't focus on is the top down looking on of it, which is to say, look, this is an absolutely fundamentally unique piece of creation that has never been anywhere ever before. Like, this is its only ever time in the world. And why don't we teach that instead of teach lifestyle choices? Because, and also God doesn't say, I mean, yeah, fine, sex before marriage, I get it, but so few people obey that rule. Yeah, I mean, I think actually next generation is starting to. I hear stuff from the younger generation, which I've only got, it's kind of cool now in their rebellious nature. But God doesn't ban pull out and pray, does he? I mean, it's not banned. It's frowned upon.
We already have pretty much every doctor, every medical professional, every scientist, well, not every, but the vast majority, in every time they are questioned on the matter of life, without abortion being part of the conversation, every time they all agree that human life begins at conception, right? They all agree that it's a discrete individual human being. It's a separate person, all of them. Whenever you ask this question, it only changes when you bring abortion into it. And so it is an ideological problem. It's not a scientific problem. It's not a medical problem. It's not a biological problem. It's ideology. And so you're right. We need to be teaching better options. We need to be teaching about marriage. We need to be teaching about life and when life is created and why life is important and why murder is evil. So we need to be teaching morality as much as we teach, or more than we're teaching about lifestyle choices or options, because the choice to murder your baby is never really a choice, is it?
Well, and you never get over it. Having been with more than one woman who has done that to a child, it comes and it haunts you forever. And you can pretend that it doesn't, but it does. And I know that. I know that, but I do feel a deep sadness for again, look at it from the top down, for child killers. So one has to think, where does the forgiveness come for the murder of a child, like the most abhorrent act you can commit ever? And a lot of people do it for fun, and actually some people do it for attention.
Well, this is the problem, because these women are all going to hell unless they repent. It's quite simple, right? Unrepentant sinners go to hell. This is a grave, grave mortal sin. And so all these women that are celebrating the number of abortions they've had, they're literally going to hell. There is always time to repent until there isn't.
Why do you think the abortion? So we can go back, and we can go back to Margaret Sanger, and we can go back to Planned Parenthood, and we can go back to the Great Society and this idea of turning around and taking the emphasis off the child and putting it on the mother. It's a clever piece of leftism, really, because leftism always starts with a grain of truth, doesn't it? And the grain of truth is that, well, it can't survive without its mum. Therefore, the mum's got a say. So that is an argument that,
Well,
I mean, you'll lose every time, but you can argue it.
This is going to affect your life. Why? What if you want a career? What if you want to become successful? What about your ambitions? What about you? Like, well, what about you? You've made a decision, you partook in an act, and one of the consequences of that act is potentially being blessed by God with children. You are becoming a mother. You don't get to choose your lifestyle anymore. Your lifestyle has you've made the choice. The choice is whether you open your legs or not, to be frank, to be brutally honest about it. But we're not able to be honest anymore. There's so many people on the conservative
Well,
side.
hang on. You've slightly scuppered your argument with the choices of the open your legs.
This argument are, but what about the women? We must make sure that the women aren't ever prosecuted. They are vulnerable. This, that, that. No, the babies are who must be protected, and justice dictates that the babies deserve, well, justice too. They deserve mercy, and so they're not given it. And so the women who are killing their babies should be punished. There should be a punishment for that.
What would you? Okay, I just want to quickly go back a foot, because I'm struggling to, find my pro-abortion argument, because I just don't have one. But when you say the choice is to open your legs, it then does go to the outlier where the woman didn't choose to open her legs.
That accounts for less than 1% of all abortions. So
okay, but why can't we defunct the outlier first? So instead of looking up, look down on the problem, defunct the outlier.
Sure,
the outlier doesn't matter whether she opened her legs or not, whether she was raped or not, whether it was her own brother or not. It doesn't matter.
Right, we should never punish the baby for the.
You can't kill a baby for any reason. It's innocent. That's the top-down version of it. So I just wanted to get that clear. Sorry.
No.
Anyway, you were saying. I like logic. It's really helped me in life. It's got me in a lot of trouble too, but it's really, really helped in life, because at least I know that I'm following the most common sense thing. And I think abortion is the most abhorrent act that a human being can commit against anyone. I think it's worse than, it's up there with baby pee.
Well, this is the darkest, worst time in human history. The fact that we are committing infanticide and approving of it. And then at the same time, we wonder why we're losing Christendom. We wonder why we're losing our society, our way of life, our people. We wonder why we're dying out. Well, this is why, because we're killing ourselves and we're committing the gravest evil sins that have ever been committed by people in the history of humanity. And somehow we're celebrating it. Right?
Well, we're not. I think in this house, and I think in a lot of houses around this country, the houses that you don't read about in newspapers, and the people that don't turn up to protest and don't stand there, saying I've had 25 abortions written on their stomach in permanent marker. I think there are values being instilled in young people that are keeping this country, as much as it's like one of those container ships in the Southern Ocean where containers are falling off left, right, and centre. There is still a very strong moral sense within this country. And what we have to do, and I think you're right, is speak up and normalize this sort of conversation so that people feel, who watch us and who care about what we have to say, normalize it. So you feel the courage to be able to say, well, at dinner, I'm not going to go along with that. It's cool to kill babies thing, and it's a woman's choice, my body, my choice. What about, my TV, my choice, when it comes to BBC? What about my healthcare, my choice? What about anything else? And the leftists are so good with like reproductive healthcare rights. Never. Where is the conservative version of that? You can't go pro-life. That's not an answer. Because they can just spin it on you as well. It's not reproductive healthcare rights. It's children's right to not be murdered. That's what it is. And that I will never change from that. And I certainly, I mean, I don't know, God and me aren't like best mates. So I just know that that's not going to be looked fondly upon, along with a multitude of other sins. But the voluntary murder of children is abhorrent. And I feel deeply sad for I know many women who've had abortions. And you'll know one of them who was going to come to my wedding and engagement party, and she said, "I'm having an abortion, and so I'm going to be a bit late for your engagement party." And I said, "Please don't come ever, and also please don't come to our wedding. Thanks very much, bye." And I haven't spoken to her since. I don't, if she phones me up and wants to talk about it, fine. But I don't want that around me. I don't want that energy around me, and I don't want that around me. And I understand these are very difficult decisions, but they're not as difficult as people think they are.
It comes down to essentially, Christ died so that we can live, right? And he said to the disciples in John 6, "Take, eat. This is my body." And he says that without it, there's no health in us, right? So we consume him really and truly and presently to live. Whereas Satan twists that around and tells the woman she should kill her baby so that she can live, which is the opposite of what Christ did. And then the woman is mirroring, echoing Christ's words, but subverting them, saying, "This is my body," when clearly it's not her body, it's another body within her. And in order for her to live, she believes she has to kill it. It's demonic. It is subversion of the truth, of goodness, of beauty. And it's from the devil, essentially.
Well, it's also where the phrase "the devil's in the detail" comes from, because that's where the devil is, in the detail. So maybe this is a good segue into the British political scene, because Farage has been attacked for saying that British abortion laws are out of date.
Oh, really?
And they are, but at 24 weeks, which is Britain, is appalling. And good on, I've got a lot to criticise about Nigel Farage, but just plinking these things up in the air a bit has forced the other members of the Uni Party to sort of like this sort of twist round, aren't they? Now Shabina Mahmood is now sounding like Nigel Farage, because she's like, we're going to confiscate. The newspapers love it. Like, we're going to confiscate your jewellery. But did you see that? I don't know if you saw it. I posted it. It was really funny. I mean, it was lovely. But what's that place near Hayward Heath in Kent? Anyway, there was a town hall meeting with the Greens, and this young girl stood up. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she stood up. Play it.
So my second question is actually directly to you, Rachel. It does actually go to you as well, James. You did a video the other day, Rachel, saying that all of these people, doctors and engineers and surgeons that are coming here, and we should give them the right to work. Now, firstly, engineers, doctors and surgeons do not come from France on a dinghy and throw their medical certificate overboard. It's very clear to me that you really don't understand the small boat crisis. So therefore, I'm going to say, why don't you resign, both of you, and make way for someone who understands the crisis? It's not a joke, Rachel. I'm serious. You do not have the capabilities to do this. You don't understand the small boat crisis. Step down, both of you, and let someone else take lead and actually get us what we need and represent this community, because you don't.
And there you have it.
But this is what's interesting, isn't it? So this is a Green Party event, and people are speaking or talking points which will be classed as right-wing. Likewise, Shabnam Mahmood has now put herself on the right of Reform and the Conservative Party with these immigration policies that she's talking about at the moment. It seems that people are waking up to the fact that the British public want their borders protected, they want their people protected, they want their sovereignty protected, and this is not far right, it's just common sense.
Yeah. But it is interesting to see that I genuinely don't believe that within a single fibre of, and this is judge not let you be judged, so I'm being bad, and I appreciate it, but nothing makes me believe Shabin Mahmood would like anything more than an airport from Mirpur to Britain, so that all of the dependents of the illegal immigrants from Pakistan could get here quicker and easier on a direct flight. You know, nothing will make me believe that that's not what she really thinks. But she's decided to go, right, we've got to get control of our borders. And we sort of go round in this weird merry-go-round, this Alice in Wonderland merry-go-round of people telling us that they're engaging with our concerns and never doing it. And you think reform, for all of the reasons I think they're dreadful, but you got to take hat off to them. They are going to shake up the system. It has been decided they are going to be the next government. Bunch of amateurs we're going to put in charge of stuff. Maybe that was good, but this sort of, it's like a rotation. It's like a movie. You know when you go for futuristic movies and they put the key in the middle, and then like all of these circular concrete bits like slide and go, and then it opens the door to like the golden elixir or whatever it is. That's what the uni party is. Shabina and me just gone, right, we've got to do immigration now, bush, and steal their jewelry. And Kemi's like not said anything really of any note. Rupert Lowe's dog. Oh, I need to ask you this. Oh God, this isn't going to be fun, but I want to ask you it anyway. So Rupert Lowe gets a chance to ask a question at Prime Minister's Questions. And, Rupert Lowe being a bit of a social media-ite, as, not criticising him, but he does like a bit of social media. Rupert Lowe asks a question on the death penalty. What do you think about that?
I thought that was very based of him. Rupert Lowe has proven
based,
to be far more.
But out of all the questions you could ask in this world,
right? Well,
why?
He's proven himself to be far more conservative than I ever understood him to be. But why has he done this? It's great. He's broken that taboo. Most British people, most Britons believe in the death penalty, particularly for instances of murder and rape and child abuse. And so politicians have always, the establishment and the metropolitan liberal elites, the Islington mob have always been against the idea. So they've been massively disconnected from the people. And it's something that hasn't been allowed to be discussed by politicians or mainstream journalists. So Rupert Lowe just blows the door off on that taboo and says, well, we're going to have a conversation now about the death penalty because most people tend to believe in it and you guys don't want them to. I think that's great. I'm like, well done, Rupert.
How can you on one level advocate for the sanctity of human life and on another advocate for a man's right to take another man's life or woman's life? How can you do
because
that?
if a man murders another person, they've removed their right to life, right? They've done away with it, and then it becomes about justice.
Okay, so I'm going to say this because I think it's true, and from my reading and my understanding, it's true. The death penalty makes absolutely no difference to murders rates in any country at all. So you're only really killing someone.
That's untrue.
I would say
in very basic fact of the number of people that reoffend. Like if you remove the killer, they cannot reoffend. So that can't be true.
Okay, what about the innocent person who is murdered? Between, I mean, they say in American statistics, they say that somewhere between 1% and 10% of people put in prison for life without parole are innocent. So if you brought the death penalty back in, which they do have in America, but they don't kill people often because, they can't get the supplies from Bulgaria or wherever they get their sodium pentothal from. Right. But what would you say to the man or woman who died totally innocent of the crime? Would that not put you at the gates of hell as well?
Right. So fear of injustice is a real concern. And so we should only ever implement the death penalty when we're absolutely sure. And there are many cases where we are absolutely sure, when we can see the video footage or we have the DNA evidence, etc. I mean, if we are not absolutely sure, then we shouldn't implement that penalty. But we should certainly have a punitive justice system rather than trying to keep it rehabilitative, because people are reoffending. and crime is rising. Mostly violent crime is rising, and we're not doing something about it.
This judge said this thing in there when I watched Zhao Ji, Chinese serial sex rapist. He said, if I was to give you a determinate sentence, I would give you a determinate sentence of 28 years. So he was 33. So that puts him out of action until he's, I don't know, 60.
Right. With good behaviour, what is like 50% time served, and with the new system of getting out early, it's like a quarter of that.
But his judgment was that due to the nature of the number of crimes this man had committed and recorded himself committing, and I'm fine to talk about this. I always get chastised from my lawyers and stuff talking about legal things, but I was actually watching someone else's case, and it's a public gallery, so I'm allowed to report it. Press reporters report it. He said, I'm not going to give you a determinate sentence because you're going to do this again, and you are a massive danger to the public. And it was proved by the guy who Zhao, or whatever his name was, just like going through with his Mandarin translator, like a lot of people in court that day, paid for by the British people. And but I do think about the innocent, and I have a worry and a concern, and it might just be an instinct, and it might not be a fully formed thought, that the idea of going after the death penalty from the kind of, well, I'm a conservative side, is actually sort of falling into a trap. So where the leftists go, let's just forgive rapists and paedophiles and rapists because, plus it's sexual orientation, etc. We go, no, murder them. Because it is murder, I think. Thou shalt not kill. I wonder whether we're falling into a trap, whether Rupert Lowe might not have used his voice to say, why is... Well, I would have said... If I had a part... Just let me quickly finish. If I had a question in Parliament, I would say, does the Prime Minister think that there should be... we should have followers of Islam representing constituencies in the United Kingdom? That's what I would have asked. I would have just dropped the bomb on it. Fuck the death penalty, with all due respect. I'd be like, why have we got Muslim MPs? Today we've got 3 Muslim MPs debating Muslim stuff in Parliament about Muslim stuff. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's not to do with my life. The River Cherwell looks like New Delhi. Thanks, guys. You used to be able to catch a half-decent barber in the River Cherwell. But now and I hate to pop the multicultural bubble. But if you look at the fly tippers at the River Cherwell, they ain't the people that have been fly tipping for the last 100 years. Do you know what I mean? Or not?
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing. I mean, yeah, you can sit around and say, well, I would ask this question or I'd ask that question, but...
What would you ask?
I don't know. But I do think it was a fair question to ask. I've got some quotes here from previous pious popes. One who was called Pope Innocent I said, "It must be remembered that power was granted by God, and to avenge crime the sword was permitted. He who carries out this vengeance is God's minister." One here from Pope Innocent III. "The secular power can without mortal sin carry out a sentence of death, provided it proceeds in imposing the penalty not from hatred, but with judgment, not carelessly, but with due solicitude." Pope Leo the 13th. "The death sentence is a necessary and efficacious means." And these go on and on. The point being that, here's one more from Pope Pius the 12th. "Even when it is a question of the execution of a condemned man, the state does not dispose of the individual's right to life. In this case, it is reserved to the public power to deprive the condemned person of the life in expiation of his crime when, by his crime, he has already disposed himself of his right to live, which is the point I was trying to make earlier. In that it's not murder; it's because they've removed their right to life. It's justice, and it's vengeance at the hand of God by His sword, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to never know the answer to this sort of stuff. But what I do want to do is I do want to move on to some questions.
Okay. Cool.
So, right. Okay. Hang on, have we gone through everything else? Oh, Reeves budget U-turn. She's still got a £20 billion black hole. Sorry, I've just got to go through the news because fuck it. She's still got a 20 to 30 billion black hole. She was going to raise income tax by 2p, but she's not going to do that because they try it out and then they don't. And we're about to see what they will offer, and it'll get leaked to the paper, so who cares? But basically, we'll just give over more power. Right. So I'd like to answer your question. I'd also like to do a Fox and Father Follows because I forget this stuff. Momus. Where's Momus? What's his actual what's his thing? Momus's thing. I like Momus. Momus nudge me, which is at the world of Momus. He's my Fox and Father Follows.
I'll give
right.
mine to Landieur, British Landieur, Landeur. He's very based, got lots of good things to say about Britain.
Okay, good. Right. Harvey Lane wants to know, how do you think the government, any one of them, can rebuild trust with the British public?
I'm not sure they can. I think too much trust has been broken. The relationship is a traumatic one. The swamp needs draining, to use American terminology. Like, something needs to change. The system needs reforming.
Well, it's going to get Farage. So,
no pun intended. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think people have gone, let's see what happens if we put the kids in charge of the kindergarten. And we're going to see how that works. But and I don't envisage it working very well. This is quite an interesting one from Milo Crossing. Do you think that Ant Middleton has a good chance of becoming London mayor?
I think he'd probably be a good London mayor. Does he have a good chance of winning? Probably not, because Britons are a minority in London, and the immigrants are going to vote for another immigrant. So New York and London are pretty much lost at this point, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, because New York has happened since we last spoke, hasn't it? So they voted for like Sadiq Khan on steroids.
Yeah.
In that dude. Why do the affluent vote for poverty? It's interesting. Poor people never seem to vote to get poorer, but rich people often do. I saw a sort of thing of millionaires going tax us more. And it's like, again, it's sort of a thin end of the wedge thing. It's like, well, if they tax you more, then they're going to tax them more. Stop virtue signaling and get less tax
pay more tax if you want
everybody. Yeah, it was like Jonathan Pye or whatever that irrelevant twat is. He's a Fox and Father Follows. Follow him and watch how his career has destroyed itself. Not through anything other than being talentless and not having Andrew Doyle write for him. He was like, at this junction, he put up Liz Truss's, Trump, BBC, we didn't even go there. So when Liz Truss said, I'm glad that Trump is going to go after the BBC. Oh, we went there last week. So Jonathan Pye tweeted, I don't know why it appears on my timeline. I don't follow him, and I think he's muted. He went, at this junction, I feel like paying my BBC license fee twice.
Yeah.
So again, no, you can't. So I went into AI again and said, is it possible to pay your BBC license fee twice? It's like, no. Like, it's almost impossible to give the BBC money except through children in need and, via charitable foundations that rich people can do. So if you paid your BBC license fee twice, you would get a refund.
Yeah.
Anyway,
his skit, the same skit every single time, is so boring now.
Yeah, he's like the Dom Jolly of the 2020s, isn't he? But you and me are still white supremacists in Dom Jolly's eyes.
Yeah.
Well, we've hit our hour point, my love.
We
And
have.
now it's time for you to pray.
What are you going to do now?
I'm going to go down the pub. It was very funny, and I'm not going to mention any names because it was too funny. So we got back from court on Friday late, right?
Mm.
So, and it reminded me of filming when I was an actor. You'd arrive back at the pub on a Friday or Saturday night at about 9 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock. And you'd walk in and, people have been having a good time there for quite some time. So you walk in sober and they're not.
Mm.
So, but I said to Lizzie, we need like a timeline cleanse because I just can't deal with, and there's also a couple of really interesting, lovely people who go into the pub. And I went and sat down, and one of the patrons of the pub turned up at the pub, was already at the pub and was very, 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 very drunk. Very drunk by the time I arrived. And then they saw me and Lizzie and were like, "Hey, you're here now. Let's get more drunk." And that ended up with him having a pretty bad time and trying to blame me for them being drunk. And I had to say to them the next day, I said, I have enough problems in my life without being called an enabler of your drinking. Thanks very much. So I'll go down the pub, have a pint of Guinness, take Blaze. Sparky had a fit last night, which is a bit of a worry. Sparkles, darling. He had a fit last night. Come here, come and say hi. No one ever sees Sparky.
Oh, is he
Come
there? Hey,
He's always here.
Sparky! There he is. Look at him.
I
He's a
love him.
legend.
He's so old.
He is. He's an old
I love
gentleman.
him so much. So Sparky had a fit last night. Lizzie's in the other room with her mate. She's talking stuff. I've started calling Lizzie Brian because she went to a charity shop yesterday and bought a jumper and a pair of tracksuit bottoms for £9. So first of all, it's the easiest attack ever, which is like, why are you spending £9 of my hard-earned money, which I really enjoyed. Much to she didn't enjoy it at all.
No, I can imagine.
And then, but because in the tracksuit bottoms, which were definitely on the body of a 77-year-old man when he had his heart attack, and the jumper probably the same. She's like, I just need stuff to walk the dogs and go in the garden with because there's so much mud. And I'm like, all right, Brian, calm down. So I've started calling her Brian now. She's not really happy.
I'm sure she loves that.
That's me. What are you going to do? You're going to Dearborn?
I'm off to Dearborn. Yes, going to go and help the Christians out there make their presence known.
Spreading a word. I think you and I also have to have like we can't use Fox and Father as our catch up.
True.
I haven't like called you for a few weeks, a couple of weeks at least. Maybe it's because
it's been the weeks just fly by.
Yeah,
I'm not going anywhere this week though. I'll be around.
Okay, well, I'll give you a bell. I'd like to apologise to Polytunes for the ring thing on there. I don't have a studio. It's a reservoir of clay and mud outside, so it's going to be like this for a few weeks, I'm afraid. But that's it. Pray for us, but don't give me any of this. Well, you do what you want.
Shush.
But
I'm going to pray how I pray. Right?
Can we not
if you
do
want to pray a different way? You
Dave?
can pray a different way. I won't do the saint prayer, but I'll do a different.
I don't want saint prayers.
Shh. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, we beseech thee to keep thy household, the church, in continual godliness, that through thy protection she may be free from all adversities, and devoutly given to serve thee in good works, to the glory of thy name. Through Jesus Christ, thy Son, our Lord, who liveth and reigneth with thee in the unity of the Holy Spirit, ever one God, world without end. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I think that was all right. You weren't like, Lord, guide us through St. Ignatius's path.
Well, today is actually the memorial dedication of the basilicas of St. Peter and St. Paul, which is a good one. They're great. I'm sure you've been to both of them.
Listen, all I care about at this juncture is how good my hair is.
Oh my gosh.
What do you
Yeah,
reckon?
both of our hairs are getting quite long.
Are you going to throw it up again? Because this is like this is my equivalent of an afro.
It is, isn't it? You should backcomb it.
Oh, I should. I'm a bit worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit worried that it's not getting that much longer at the front. So I might be
It's
looking
still
at
very blonde.
male pattern baldness. I know. If I was having a Times interview, they'd say that I dyed it. But yeah, I'm going to go down and have a pint of Guinness and
Right,
come
enjoy.
back and have some, try and trudge through the mud. I love you.
You too, brother. God bless you. Have a nice one.
Love you.
Bye-bye.